So now I am very happy to introduce you to someone that I really admire her work. She's really doing a really good job at Azuki. She's Liz Yang. And yes, she's going to tell us more about what they are doing in Azuki. She's the head of growth. And yeah, Azuki for sure has captivated a lot of people. Like, people love the project. So I'm super excited to hear more about what you have to say today, Liz. Welcome. Woo!
Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Liz, and I'm the head of growth at Azuki and also a contributor to the AnimeChain Foundation, which is launching AnimeChain, and Azuki is partnered with the AnimeChain Foundation. So today I want to talk to you about how Arbitrum can help onboard millions of anime fans into crypto. It's no secret that Arbitrum's the leading L2 in the Ethereum ecosystem, primarily driven by DeFi. In fact, here's a cross-section of a lot of the really amazing and innovative use cases that we see in DeFi today on Arbitrum. In order for Arbitrum to maintain its position of dominance, we need other use cases to complement the existing DeFi offerings. So the way I like to think about it is that I live in New York, and New York City is the most visited city in the United States. Why? Because there's something for everyone. People travel to New York to conduct business on Wall Street. People visit New York to visit the wonderful restaurants and bars that we have to offer. People go to New York to go to museums and art galleries and sample some of the culture in the city. If you look at other major cities in the United States, like DC, LA, or San Francisco, these are single industry cities. And in a similar fashion, I believe that Arbitrum will continue to maintain its dominance by its strength in other categories outside of DeFi. So here you can see some of the really interesting use cases that are already emerging on the consumer side. So you guys just heard Sobi speak on Zai on the gaming side. There's a lot of art use cases. There's even emerging use cases like Senko on the streaming side. This brings us here to Azuki today. So what Azuki is looking to do is to put the anime industry on chain. Here's a couple of facts and figures about Azuki. We started out as an NFT collection, but our vision and roadmap has expanded to become way more beyond that. We have $70 million in primary sales. We've generated over $1 billion in secondary trading volume in the short 2 years that we've been around. We have over 1 million followers across social channels, most of whom actually are in Web 2 and have no idea that we're in Web 3 at all. They just like the art. And we also have 28,000 holders all around the world, but mainly concentrated in APAC, in the United States, and also in Europe. Azuki has 3 core IP collections. So of course we have Azuki, our flagship collection. We have Beans, the core companions. We have Elementals, which expands the universe of the Azukis. And we also have Bobu the Bean Farmer. This is a fractionalized Azuki. And what that means is that Bobu token holders can actually propose initiatives and vote on them. So this is a process of managing IP in a completely decentralized way. So one of my favorite initiatives that Bobu has put forth and passed is that often in the crypto space, we talk about when moon. Well, we literally sent Bobu to space in a ledger on a SpaceX rocket on a real NASA mission. And that was something that the Bobu team had put together, had nothing to do with our team. I wanted to chat a little bit about our community, some of whom are in attendance today. And our community is very special, and I would say they're one of the reasons for our success. I mentioned that we have a very global community, but we also have a very creative community. Whether it comes to memes, or art, or animations, we have them all. And actually, again, in the 2 years we've been around, we've generated around 10,000 works of art from community artists and animators. And a lot of these are paid commissions And some people actually are able to maintain their living just from doing Azuki fan art. On top of that, we also have what we call subcommittees. So these are like little clubs within the Azuki community. Some of this is organized by geography. Some of this is organized by shared NFT attribute. Some of this is around interest. So we have the Azuki Watch Club for luxury watch aficionados. We also have Azuki Fitness Club for those who like to work out. And we also have identity and affiliation related clubs like a women's club for Azuki holders, as well as Queer Azuki for LGBT holders. And among our community as well, we do have some celebrity holders who were not gifted their Azukis. We have Jay Chou and JJ Lin, who are C-pop megastars, if you're familiar. We have Adrian Chang, who's a Hong Kong real estate billionaire mogul. And we also have a couple of NBA players among our holders. We've launched a lot of very trailblazing partnerships, primarily on the Web 2 side. So I spearheaded a partnership with the Formula One team, Red Bull Racing. We actually put an Azuki on the chassis of the race car driven by Max Verstappen and Checo Perez during the 2022 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And if you watch the Netflix series Drive to Survive, you'll actually see the Azukis in the episode. And I know a lot of crypto teams pay millions in sponsorships to be able to work with F1 teams, but we were actually able to put the Azuki on the car for free. Additionally, I spearheaded a partnership with Line Friends. So for those of you who are not familiar, Line is a messaging platform that is the dominant messaging platform with 200 monthly active users in places like Japan, Thailand, and Taiwan. So we worked with Line Friends to create a line of merch, which we sold online, and also we had a full store takeover in their flagship store in Gangnam, Seoul. So thousands of people walking past were able to see our Beans branding. Additionally, we incorporated some crypto elements into the physical merchandise that we sold, thereby onboarding people in Web 2 onto Web 3. We've also partnered with Bilibili, which is the YouTube of China. We've worked with Ambush, which is a Japanese streetwear brand. We've even had Azuki visuals in the background of a K-pop concert that happened at Coachella. Oftentimes, I know that when it comes to NFT teams, there's a stereotype that they're not very technical. But actually, 3 out of 4 of the Azuki founders are developers. They've worked at places like Palantir, Meta. They've had companies go through Y Combinator, and there are a couple of technical innovations that we've pioneered that I wanted to highlight. The first of which is called Physical Backed Token, or PBT. So essentially, this is an NFC chip that you can scan with your phone to be able to mint an NFT. And through some of the partnerships on the previous slide, we actually were able to implement this in the items that we sold. What I think is really interesting about this is that it enables this kind of second unboxing experience. So for example, with Ambush, we sold hoodies in 2 different colorways. All of the units in the same colorway look identical. But when you put your phone forth and you scan the chip, you actually mint different kinds of NFTs that have different kinds of rarity. And we've seen on the secondary market that these hoodies, although they look completely identical, sell for different price points depending on what NFT is minted. Additionally, we've also created ERC 721A, which is an optimization on the existing ERC 721 contract, which is more gas optimized. This has been used by projects such as Adidas and Doodles. Excitingly, we're working with some top talent within the anime industry, namely Dentsu. Dentsu is a leading anime production studio in Japan. They created the popular hit series Attack on Titan. They did the Naruto movie, the One Piece movie. They also co-produced some of the Studio Ghibli films, such as Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, and Princess Mononoke. We've been very honored to work with Dentsu to release some anime content, which I'll talk about in the next slide. So just a few weeks ago, we released the first episode of our anime anthology series with Dentsu, with an all-star anime director and A-list voice acting talent. This episode went viral, has garnered over 5 million views in a few short weeks, and went viral on Weibo, which is China's Twitter, where it was reposted by some Chinese celebrities such as Hong Kong actor Stephen Fung and Angelababy, who's the Kim Kardashian of China. And again, I know celebrities in crypto have a certain kind of connotation, especially with the Solana meme coin meta, but all of this was completely organic. We didn't coordinate it, and we didn't pay for it at all. Entertainment has historically been this one-way street between studios and fans as passive consumers. We think that through crypto, we'll be able to deepen and enrich this kind of fan experience. So for example, in the first episode of the anime anthology series that we launched with Dentsu, if you're an Azuki holder, and if you watch the episode in the browser on Azuki.com, and you had 2 NFTs in your wallet, you could actually see your Azuki in the background of one of the episodes. So in this way, we believe that crypto is going to transform how we consume entertainment and how we create it going forward. I wanted to take a step back and talk about the global anime industry, because I know that it can seem like quite niche. Global demand for anime has never been higher. In 2021, anime was a $26 billion industry, and it's projected to grow to a $60 billion industry by 2030. So to contextualize what that means, by 2030, the anime industry will be larger than the global music industry and global box office sales combined today. Also, anime has definitively risen from being a subculture and entered the mainstream pop culture conversation. We see big luxury fashion houses like Chanel and Burberry partnering with really big anime brands. We see rappers like Megan Thee Stallion sampling the Jujutsu Kaisen soundtrack and rapping about Naruto. We see athletes referencing anime in their personal branding. For example, recently, an athlete at the Olympic trials pulled out a Blue Eyes White Dragon Yu-Gi-Oh card televised right before he ran his race. And we see big brands like McDonald's running anime-themed commercials. One could say that we're living in an anime renaissance. Due to the popularity of anime in the West, there's never been as much demand for anime than today. And actually, there's not been as many titles in production as today. If we look at some Western entertainment companies, they're actually buying up anime-related companies to stay abreast of this meta. Surprisingly, or not so surprisingly, anime is more popular than sports among America's Gen Z. Stated differently, your average Gen Zer in the United States would prefer to watch an episode of anime rather than a basketball game, a football game, or a baseball game. Something else that I think is quite interesting as well is that 60% of people in Gen Z in the United States watch anime at least once a month. And I personally think that anime will be the equivalent of Friends or The Office for Gen Z, because not only do they watch anime, they actually return to the same titles over and over as a source of comfort. Gen Zers are also reported as watching anime to get themselves hyped up before a big event, like before going on a date or before a big interview. And this is no surprise that the prevalence of anime has been driven by Gen Z, because subcultures have historically been very much youth-oriented. You think of surfing, you think of skateboarding, you think of rap and hip-hop. Streaming platforms have also aided in anime's rise to dominance. In 2021, Netflix reported that 50% of its global viewership watched anime. And in 2022, 300 million people around the world watched anime. That's almost the size of the population of the United States of America, which is the 3rd largest country in the world. However, despite the meteoric growth of the anime industry, there are some structural issues on the fan and on the creator side. Namely, as a fan, your experience is very fragmented. You have to go to multiple platforms to watch the shows that you want to watch. You have to go to yet another platform to be able to discover new shows and rate shows, and then yet another platform to talk about shows and speculate on what's happening with fellow fans, and then other places to buy merch. Speaking of merch, the leading vertical for anime merch is anime figures, and people spend a lot of money in anime figures. If you guys follow Anthony Sassano on Twitter, you might have seen some of the figures that he has in his collection, some of which are literally life-sized and easily 5 figures each. If you go on YouTube, you can see some of the top anime figure collectors, and they have so many anime figures, they cannot even fit them in their house. These are easily 6 to 7 figure collections. If I were to walk into Louis Vuitton, and if I were to drop 6 to 7 figures, they would have me in their CRM as a VIP. They would invite me to fashion shows. They'd collect my feedback for future lines. They'd send me a gift on my birthday and on Christmas and other holidays. Unfortunately, no such tracking exists in the anime industry, despite all the time, money, and effort anime fans pour into their fandom. So how can we create a more unified anime experience? I strongly believe that crypto will enable us to be able to track, aggregate, and reward fans for their fandom. I want to take a step back and talk about the global macro for entertainment overall. Overall, we're seeing that generalized entertainment, with some exceptions, such as Barbie and Oppenheimer, are really becoming more of the exception rather than the norm, where the locus of power in entertainment is moving toward is niche, deeper fandoms. Coupled with that, our tastes globally are converging. There's a lot of soft cultural exports that have come out of APAC, not just anime. There's K-pop, there's award-winning films like Parasite, and there's K-dramas. What I think is super interesting about K-dramas is that a lot of them start out as webtoons. And a webtoon is a digital comic optimized for mobile that's created by everyday people like you or me. And in South Korea, one of the top webtoon platforms is called Naver Webtoon, and they boast 89 million monthly active users. And that's actually more than the population of South Korea. So what that goes to show is that IP is being created at a grassroots level enabled by technology. On top of that, a lot of big studios don't really want to take risks on new IP. That's why when you go to the movie theater, you see a lot of reboots and remakes just because it's more financially risk-averse that way. But I think that crypto will be a conduit for the creation of grassroots IP and a way to deepen the fan experience of said grassroots IP. And this is where AnimeChain comes in. Created by the AnimeCoin Foundation, this will be an Arbitrum Orbit L3. And initially, it will begin as an app chain looking to unify anime fans in a modern anime experience. So I mentioned I'm a contributor to the AnimeCoin Foundation. So what exactly does that mean? Part of my duties in my role as contributor were that I had to do the due diligence to determine what tech stack to launch AnimeChain upon. And for me, it was really a no-brainer to launch upon Arbitrum. Best tech, best ecosystem, best builders. Additionally, fast block times and cheap transactions that actually make consumer use cases possible. I won't walk through some of the technical innovations here. I'm sure you guys are well aware, but that's part of the magic of what keeps Arbitrum dominant. I also wanted to talk a little bit about what I think AnimeChain will bring to the Arbitrum ecosystem. Going back to what I said at the beginning of this talk, I really do think AnimeChain can help bolster this consumer use case meta on Arbitrum to add to the diverse array of different use cases that exist on Arbitrum already. Additionally, by bringing anime IP on-chain, we're looking to onboard millions of anime fans all over the world into crypto through Arbitrum. Lastly, we have a really passionate community on the Azuki side, and we hope to rally the community to help champion some Arbitrum initiatives. And of course, we hope that the vice versa is true as well, that the tip of the iceberg that you've seen today gets you galvanized about what we're looking to do in terms of upending the anime industry. A few months ago, when the AnimeChain Foundation announced that AnimeChain would be deployed on Arbitrum, Azuki donated Azuki 723, which is a rare Azuki, to the Arbitrum DAO treasury. We then created a skin, an Arbitrum-themed skin for this Azuki, and we opened up an open edition mint on Zora. In a couple of weeks, we actually saw 100,000 of these Arbzukis minted, showing that there's a lot of synergy between the two ecosystems. We donated the full amount of the proceeds, 41 ETH generated from these mints, to the Arbitrum DAO treasury alongside Azuki 723. It's a token of friendship of how we feel about the Arbitrum ecosystem and a sign for greater things to come. Launch timeline. Launch timeline for AnimeChain is by the end of the year, and you can follow our journey at AnimeCoin on X. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope you guys are excited about how we're looking to use Arbitrum to upend the anime industry, and you can contact me at WizWang on Telegram and on Twitter. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.